Hey everybody, welcome on in to ClayShare's Live at 5. This is our weekly live broadcast. I say weekly because sometimes it's not every week, but it's most weeks. Like if you take a year, it's like 45 weeks out of the year. So we're here today. We're going to do something really fun. And I thought we'd have an unboxing first, and then we'll use what's in this package right here to make some plates. This is from the Pottery Tool Kit. So I don't think I have anything really exciting on the packaging to show to you, but I guess if we kick on over to the overhead. Now I'm just gonna let you all know, many of you already know that I have the shingles, which yes, I did get the vaccine, but I have it, it's on this eyelid, so it's my eye. So we're not going to do any close-ups of this side of my face, just so you know, but I was doing much better, and then I had a bit of a relapse this week, so I'm back on some antivirals, and I'm just taking it easy. That's why we're only doing this one broadcast tonight. Won't be doing prime time. It's going to be kind of chill, little low-key, and I'm only doing it because we already planned this. So I would have canceled, but I haven't seen you all in a couple weeks, and I wanted to pop in and say hi and visit and thank you all for your messages and your well wishes. And I promise I will go back to taking it easy after I share what's in here with you all. All right, let's go on to the overhead and I will share what's in here. Some of you already know what's happening, so hi. Yeah. It's a good thing you can't see my eyelid. It's pretty awful, but you know, it'll go. So we're gonna, oh, I don't even need my little cutter. So the Pottery Tool Kit has a new product and they sent it to me to share with you all, and you can get this. There's a discount code to save 15% off everything at thepotterytoolkit.com if you use the code SUMMERSHARE. And this is their newest product. And I've used their texture, they have these fabulous texture mats. You know, I make texture mats and mine are long rectangles, which are fabulous, right? But I love how their texture mats are perfect for plates. Like they are this nice round shape. And this new one is, oh, it's called their Floral Rhapsody, but I feel it looks like lace. So let's open this up. So it's a set of two. One is 8 inches, completely flexible, bendable. You clean them just with some water, warm water. You can clean out clay. You could use these as a stamp. You could print on clay if you wanted to with these. That's the beautiful thing about texture mats, is the fact they're great for printing, but we're gonna actually press them into clay. And see how I mean, it's round, so it'll work great as a plate, I think. But if you wanted to use them, we did ornaments around the holidays with some, not this pattern, but similar patterns to these. And you could use any rim templates, or you can free cut. So I thought we'd do two things. I thought we'd use a template with the larger one, and I thought we would free cut, and you'll see what I mean, around the smaller. So we'll do 2 plates tonight with these. And it'll be great. It'll be wonderful. So I'm going to set these to the side. We'll do the first one, the big one first. Now, if you have some rim templates, they're great to pair up. So here's the new one I did, which is called boho, which actually, here's a little plate with boho, so you can see what this shape looks like. Isn't this fun? And this is with a circle, but you can tell if you wanted to use a square form underneath. So by circle, I mean I used the circle form. Do you see that? But you could use a square, and you could have a square shaped plate, and it works perfectly with this. Maybe we'll do 1 square, 1 round. I'm open to all options. Let's do 1 square and 1 round. We'll do the square one first. What do you think? You guys are in. I know you're in. So if I line it up here, you can see that this little mandala, it fits inside this rim template, which is really nice. It's like peacock lace. Yes, exactly. So I have got glaze ideas for you. I'll share at the end. because I just got these. I don't have glazed ones to show you, but I will share some glaze ideas before we finish. So I'm going to use this large rim template. That's the 12.5, which works perfectly with 11-inch GR Pottery Form circles, or you can go a little smaller and get a bigger rim. Just depends what you want. So here I have the 9.5 square, and I'm going to use that because look how great this plate is going to be. And when I do it with a square, do you see how I change it? When it's circle, it's like the points are top and sides. You get 2. When I do it with a square, I line it up so that it's like this. You'll see. It'll make more sense when I get it all done. Take it slow and gentle. Yes. That is always the key, isn't it? And we'll talk more about everything on Good Morning ClayShare next week. Yeah. Okay, so let's get making. I've got my rim template. So these are like the things you need to make a plate, right? It's like when you're gonna make a pie, you need some apples, because I'm making apple pie, right? And then you need a pie shell and a pan. Well, to make a plate, you need clay, you need a rim template, a form, and a texture. That's like my formula. And then you made a plate because you got all the good things you need to make it. So we have some clay because I rolled some out. Now I rolled this out a few days ago, and the way I wrap my clay up, it'll store in my studio for, oh maybe, I think this was last week. So it'll store a week in my studio. So if you're somebody who only has limited time to work in your space, this is a great way to store it. So I have it on a board, and you'll see I have some plastic draped on top, but I've wrapped the clay up, plastic underneath, plastic wrapped over the top of it, right? And now I have a sheet of clay that is fresh, flexible, easy to work with, but it's not super wet and sticky, which is nice. Because sometimes we roll our clay out and it's really sticky, and then we have to wait for it to dry a bit before we can work with it, but we do not have to do that tonight. We can just work. So Marie says, I'm so happy I found you on ClayShare.com, the broadcast showing, but you're happy you're here now. I'm glad you're here as well. So I'm gonna grab a rolling pin without texture. I've got a little 7-inch one, which works fine for rolling out slabs. I'm gonna go grab my 12-inch because this is a bigger piece of clay. And I'm gonna thin my slab down just a tiny bit. It's a little thick. I rolled it out to be 3/8 of an inch thick, which is a nice thickness. And because it's a bigger piece that we're gonna be making, I don't want it to be too thin. You'll find if your clay is too thin, it can warp sometimes. Especially if you're starting out, it can be more challenging, and I want things to work well for you and you to succeed. So 3/8 of an inch when I roll it out, and then by the time I thin it down and we're gonna add some texture, it'll be closer to 1/4 of an inch. You have some doilies made by your great grandma and great aunt. I love that. Yes, I love using lace. So if you don't have one of these beautiful mandalas that I'm using, this texture mat, well, absolutely you can use some lace that you have on hand, and even better if it's lace that someone you know made, then you're capturing that lace texture forever in clay, and it'll never get lost. You know, sometimes sadly lace and things like that get damaged or destroyed over the years, but when you press it into clay, it's gonna be there forever. So I just smoothed my slab out, get rid of any texture, even everything out, and then I'm gonna flip it over. I'm gonna do the same thing on the back side. Because I roll my clay through a slab roller using canvas, it does leave behind a texture, but even if I didn't have a texture on here, I still wanna smooth it out. That helps align the particles. It does help prevent warping, and if your clay has dried out a tiny bit, sometimes it can make it a little more plastic again. All right, so we are good to go. Now, we just have to make sure, and we do have enough clay, so I'm just going to go straight to the center of this. And that means I don't have to worry about any issues with this fitting, right? So let's go ahead and I'm going to tilt it like that, because remember, we are going to use the square form and line it up this way. And I'm going to take my finger, and this is just some registration marks. I'm just going to drag that along the outside of the template. And I don't know if you can see, very subtle shadow line. Do you see it? I can see it, and you would see it if you were doing this in your studio. But really, it's just so I can line this up like that. Ooh, now, there's no upside down or right side up with this. You just put it on and you're good. And then you could use a pony roller. You can use a rolling pin. I'm going to use a rolling pin. And I'm just going to roll the texture. And with any, this is how I do any texture mat. Smaller ones, sometimes I use a pony roller or a brayer. For bigger mats, I might use a bigger rolling pin. I don't know if I have my little... Oh, here we go. I've got a little pony roller. This is from Kemper. Just a little squeaky thing going here. Just want to make sure I get the edges really well. Don't worry if you bump off with your roller. That's not a big deal. And unlike a rolling pin that has texture on it, with a rolling pin, you're not going to roll back and forth, but with this, you can. All right, are you ready for the peel and reveal? That's always the best. We'll go to camera 2 for that. Ready? Oh, yeah, that's a great tip Jennifer shared. If you're looking for the broadcast and you're on ClayShare.com, if you can't find a broadcast and you know it's happening, go into the calendar, and always on the calendar, you will see the event, and you click on the event and it'll take you right to the live broadcast. So it'll be really easy for you to find. All right, ready for the peel? And I can, oh yeah, oh, this is nice. Zoom in, come into this. This is good. I feel like I need to lift it up, but it's on a giant board, so I can't. Maybe go to overhead now. I'll scoot you down this way. How great is that? Here, I'll pick the board up. Oh, it's good. It's good and deep. So what I love about these is I could use this on porcelain, and then I can wash it off and use it on dark clay, and then use it on porcelain again after, just washing it down. I don't have to worry about it staining. If I was using actual lace fabric, it could stain it. And you might get that transfer of clay onto other clays you might not want. If it's not squeaking, is it really a pony roller? Yeah, is it? Yeah, I think you got something there. So now we're gonna go ahead, and I made those little guidelines. So let's just go in, and we can use them to help us line up. And now we'll just cut it out. And I'm going to use my Dolan clay knife. You can use any clay knife you have. Just going to keep my hand gently on the board so that it doesn't shift as I'm cutting. You could use a needle tool to cut, and I know there's other cutting tools out there, so whatever works best for you or you like to work with. I used to use an X-Acto knife years ago, and they work really well for cutting too. All right. Look at that, it looks great. So now, this clay here, if I was gonna put a foot on it, I could use this, or I think I'm just gonna quickly wedge this up, and we're gonna use this to make the smaller plate. So there'll be no waste at all. So we're just gonna let that sit there for a minute. I'm gonna do my edges. You made pie plates with these. Oh, Angie, I bet they were stunning. These would be great for pie plates. Yeah, I love that. Who else has used lace to make things? Share what you've made. I want to hear. I mean, I've used lace on mugs and on, I did do a pie plate. Cake plates, I have a cake stand class we used lace on, but tell me what you've done with it. All right, so the damp sponge, and then my finger around the edge. And if you don't want to get it wet again, you don't want to add any more moisture, you could take your plastic and you just let that rest gently on the clay and run your finger around that. And that rounds the edge too. All right, so we have basically a big flat plate. I mean, that's what we got here. But we are going to put it on that form. Let's grab that. I'm going to go this way. And so when you look at it from overhead, you can really tell the alignment, right? And you can get down and look at it from the sides. And it looks pretty centered. So I don't think I'm gonna move it. So this is a giant board. This might be bigger than you want to use. You might want a smaller board to work on. So something to think of. And I'm just gonna flip it. We'll go to the front camera because flip. And then I didn't plan ahead as well as I usually do. Let me get my banding wheel. This is my arm day workout today. And then I'm just going to sit this down on my banding wheel. Oh, you made the teapot with the hollow handle with the lace. It is flipperoonie time. You got it. So did a little flipperoonie. And then I'm just going to gently fold this. Now you will have noticed I didn't put this on a board and flip it onto a board. I flipped it so that, here, it's just hanging because I want more depth. So that's a way you can get a deeper dish without stacking two forms on each other. And all you need is something that's smaller than the diameter of the form you're using. Sometimes I use, let me grab, well, I have this ritual glaze, which I still have to use. I haven't had a chance to try it out, but that's gonna happen. All right, so you can just do this and then gently press down on your edges. I'm not even using a rib, just gentle. Your boho rims are scheduled to arrive in a couple days. Oh, woohoo, yeah. And also, since joining ClayShare, you feel as if your clay skills have definitely leveled up. Ah, Suzanne, I bet they have. You know, I love hearing that. That's why I do this. I want you to level up, and I want you to have fun doing it. That's the whole point of this, is, you know, if you're going to be making things, and I can tell you, learning something new is really, really hard. I am teaching myself to crochet, and so far I can do like a single chain all the way down, and then turn around and go back. I can do that, but I cannot do the magic circle or anything else, but I'm working on it. So I'm trying to learn a new skill, and it's hard. I think learning to make a plate is easier. I think I can teach people to make a plate just like we're doing if you've never made pottery before. But I could not sit down, never crocheting before, and make like a granny square sweater. I would like to, but that's not happening today. Talk to me in a year. So are we going to do the boho as downloadable? We will get to those. We have a few new templates that you can, you know, purchase. The actual physical template, right? We have these available right now as physical templates. Any of the new ones, we will have downloadables coming. It's just, right now we're super busy. I don't know when we'll get those available as downloadables, but they will eventually. So just, you know, crochet a couple sweaters and we'll have it done. I'm kidding. Crochet is a good thing because I'm not stressed by it. And I really need things that don't stress me. Now making pottery doesn't stress me at all either, but my pottery studio is not on my sofa, sadly. And my doctor oh my gosh, my doctor says I need a sabbatical. And we're not going to talk about that tonight much. We'll talk about that Monday. I'm not going to take a full sabbatical, but I am going to do some creative work hours. All right, so I want this to dry for a little while, probably, oh, I would say normally an hour in the studio. And you saw how I just gently used this rib. I don't want to press too hard against the edge because I don't really want the line from the edge of the form. And because this is on a little bottle of glaze, I can lift the whole thing up and sit it over here off to the side, out of the way, and we'll let that dry. And at the end, we'll come back and I will share what we have. Now, while that's sitting there, before we move on, I want to show you some other things. You know, Pottery Tool Kit also makes these fabulous form covers, and I know they have one size in stock. I know they're out of stock, but they're always getting more. And what I love about these is when you stack your GR pottery forms together, sometimes you get seams. Yeah, I know. Sometimes they're bothersome. But also, these right here make it so that your forms don't absorb moisture, so you can pop your forms out easier. So this one here works on the two smaller forms, the 8-inch and the 6.5-inch, and then the next size up is the 9.5 and 11. I'm going to show you some pieces I made, and then we'll talk about glaze. I was going to have you wait to the end, but I think I'm going to show you now. Here is the larger one. So do you want to make really big dishes? And you can, I mean, we're talking it's summer and you want to do some beautiful summer salads, or those of you who are down under, you guys are getting into your fall and winter, so you're doing some nice hearty foods. Why not a big serving dish? This one is gorgeous. And I used this large form so that I don't have any of the seams on the side. And then this is my cloud rim template, which, Kev, is the cloud a downloadable? A physical and a downloadable? So I know it's physical, you can actually buy the template, but isn't this great? And this is the stargazing rolling pin. Here, put it back on the overhead so I can show you the texture you can see, and the glaze is pearl white from Spectrum. 2 coats, you can still see the texture. The clay is is this just B-Mix? This is just B-Mix. Okay, so this is a downloadable. You can buy the physical template if you want, or you can buy a downloadable version if you don't want to have it shipped to you and you want to just print out your own either craft foam, or if you have access to a CNC machine or a laser printer, you could use it. But see if I can get the whole thing in the overhead. It's big, and it's a double foot ring. How much do I sell it for? What? That's it? Yeah, that's a very affordable plate, right? And that gives you a good idea what you could sell something like this for. But it's not hard to make. It uses a bit of clay. It's kind of impressive, but you could make these, and if you sell your work, you have a couple of these standing on a display, and you sell a few of these and you made your booth fee. You'd be very happy. So there's one option, and that's just a glaze, nothing else. And then another option, here is a bowl that I made using the smaller cover with the 2 GR pottery forms stacked in, and I stained it with speedball underglaze and wiped back. So I used I think this is sea blue and teal mixed in here. Isn't that pretty? And then I wiped it all back, and then just the glaze is my Himalayan blue poppy. And then the back is just the underglazes and bands. So your good friend asked you to teach her how to crochet, and she's a lefty, and that was a trip. I can imagine. My mother is a righty, but she learned to crochet from, I believe my grandmother or great aunt taught her, and she's a lefty. So my mom's a righty who learned from a lefty, so she can't teach me because the way she does it is backwards because I'm a righty. So let's make another plate. Let's make one. We'll wedge up that clay. And this will be a good little rolling out a slab demo too. Let me get my work board, and we'll go ahead and, do you love that bowl? And it's really easy. You just water down underglaze in your texture, wipe it back, and it does such a nice job of making your texture pop and you could just do a clear glaze. So if you don't want to buy a lot of colored glazes, just get a really nice clear glaze, and that will make your life so much easier. All right, so I'm going to wedge. We'll come in close and we'll do a little wedging. How to wedge. I'm doing a spiral wedge right now. I'll turn it all kinds of ways so you can see what's going on. In my intro to wheel throwing, I have a wedging tutorial. I think I have a ram's head tutorial and a spiral. I like the spiral better myself personally, but if you're just starting out or you're doing smaller bits of clay, you could do the ram's head. So it's a little easier for people that are starting out. Marjorie just got that GR pottery form set. Yes. Love it. And Esther did a lace doily texture on 4 sides of a lamp. That must be fabulous. All right, now that I've got this wedged up, I'm going to flatten it. Just kind of smacking it down. It's still pretty thick, but I actually have a rolling pin that doesn't have any handles on it that I normally use. It's my little beater, but it's not here. It's across the room, so we're just going to let it stay. So I'm going to roll, turn a quarter turn, roll, turn a quarter turn, roll, and you'll notice I don't roll off the edge, and that is the key to keeping your slab even. If you roll off the edge, you compress this too much and it makes it thin and weak. So to keep your edges nice and even, and we're going to roll till we are about 1/4 inch thick, which you can roll like I'm doing, or you can get yourself some thickness strips. These guys right here, that's a 1/2 inch one. It's a little thicker than I want, but you lay these on either side, and whatever thickness your strip is the thickness of your clay. So obviously that's too, these are too thick for this particular clay, but it gives you an idea. Now I have one here. This is my 1/4 inch thick. So I can put this here and you can see, actually this might be the 3/8. It's less than that. So that's perfect. This is what we want. Your current obsession is speedball purple wiped back under the wild aster. Oh, you have to share what that looks like. I want to see that. I bet it's gorgeous. Yeah, I don't think I've actually done that combo. I've done the royal, well, yes. Here is, you know what, that might be purple. Here. Speedball purple under the wild aster. Yeah, that's it. Because here it is under briar rose. Isn't that pretty? Let's see what else. I put it under everything. I'm pretty sure it was the purple. It might be the royal blue though. No, I might have done both. I don't know, honestly, because there's the blue. All right, so it's either blue or purple, but I guarantee it's good. What else do I have back here? I don't have anything else right now to share. I think I used blue on mine, but I bet the royal purple is spectacular. Okay, so this one we are going to do freeform. So let's smooth out our clay. And if there's an air bubble in there, I compress the clay. If it pops, I just fill it in with a little bit of clay. I don't let the fact there might be an air bubble in there bother me. It will not affect anything unless, unless it kind of just is a little crater in your piece as it dries, which sometimes happens. So just, if you see air bubbles in there, just pop them, smooth them, and fill them back in with a little bit of clay. We didn't get any on this go, so that's all right. I'm just going to put this, oh, let's clean this up. That's messy. I was doing something with porcelain the other day. There. All right, so this is ready. Let's grab our, let me see if I flip this over. I I got a second one. We're gonna go with this one. Yeah. That's better. All right. So here's the little baby one. That's the 8-inch. Put that on there. And let's go with the rolling. Get our edges. So this is an 8-inch mat. So that means if I wanted a 1.5-inch border, I would use the 6.5-inch GR Pottery form, right? If I wanted a deeper border, I would go smaller, but I think the 6.5 will be a nice plate size. So let's get this good and rolled in. And I want to make sure these edges are really pressed in well. Okay, now gently lift up just a bit. I don't actually want the mat to come unattached, but because we're not going to use a form, I'm going to want to peel this mat off after I've cut it out. And it can get a little tricky, so just want to make sure it's not stuck down. All right, I'm going to use a needle tool, one of the few times I use one, because this little guy right here, I want to get into all these little nooks. I'm just going to drag this along. It does make a little bit of a rough edge. We'll clean that up after. Don't worry about it. There are some other cutting tools. Let's see. I haven't tried this one yet. This is from Diamond Core Tools. I haven't tried it for this, but it might be perfect. So let's see if I can get this to cut. I think it will drag a little less. Yeah, it's a thinner tool, so it drags a little less, so we're going to have less of a messy edge to clean up. All right, I'm going to come up here and work. My wear boards are made of plywood. Here, I just want to tighten this. So it's 3/4 inch. I happen to have some are birch, some are pine. It just depends what they have at the store when I go. And I just get them from, you know, your local home supply store. So if you have a Lowe's or if you have a Home Depot, you can use those. You can go to there and pick them up. But the great thing about plywood is they have it pre-cut, and most of those places will allow you to get your first couple cuts for free, so you could probably buy a bigger piece and have them cut it for you there at the store. So you don't have to actually take it home and cut it yourself. I do them as 24 by 18 inch work boards because I have these fabulous baker racks in the studio that I can slide these boards onto. And then I also make some 12 inch by 12 inch ones for smaller things. This board here that I'm working on, this round one, this is a work board from GR Pottery Forms. And they have I think they have this size and they have a rectangle. All right, so we're just going to take this off. That's fun. I always want to do something with that shape. Like, anyhow, we're going to get this wet and wedge this up and make something else later. But let's do a peel, and I can come in nice and close to you. You can see it. Ready? Oh, it's perfect. The texture, yeah, you can see it better here. Isn't that great? And so now we have our edges, and we have to do a little cleanup, and I can see where I worked with the needle tool a little messier, but that's okay, we'll pick that off. So for the edge, I'm just going to take my finger and I'm just going to slightly roll it on the edge here, and that's going to soften it. You could pounce it if you'd like. We're not trying to crush so much as just gently press. The other option is, again, your plastic that you have. And this plastic here is just the same plastic you would get to cover your windows in the winter, or you can save your dry cleaning bags. And so the plastic's nice because it lets you smooth things out without introducing moisture. We'll go all the way around. So this would be like a more natural edge. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Now let's get our round. We're going to use this right here, the 6.5. And I'm going to make this like a traditional plate. So I have a wear board. This is actually one of my bats for throwing. This was my Hydra bat, which I don't think you can get anymore. I used to get them from High Water Clays. If anybody knows, let me know. All right, I'm just making sure this is centered. It looks pretty good. It's a little further to the right, on my right, so I'm going to scoot it over a bit. Really, the way I think about this is I don't get hung up on how perfectly centered it is because it is a handmade thing. So I don't need it to be looking like a machine did it. So now, oh, Penny's new here too. Well, welcome. And you made a live, yay! All right, I'm glad you made it to the live. So this is what it looks like from behind. And then I'm just going to use my hands to gently fold it down. Now you can tell, see how the clay sort of holds itself up? This is what happens when you have a slab that has dried out a tiny bit, but we're not getting cracking yet. It's probably as dry as I would want it. Any drier and I could get a little cracking. So we'll just smooth this out, smoothing it along. I'm going to grab that banding wheel. And then just taking the sponge, I'm going to hold the top gently, and I'm just going to turn this on the banding wheel, and I'm just gently pressing the sponge into the side, and that's conforming it to the form. And the sponge is not so hard that it's going to crush the texture, so we're not going to lose any texture. Sometimes when we use the ribs, we might press a little too hard and it could crush our texture. I got a little cleanup I need to do out here on the edge. Again, we can use the plastic like we did on the front. And just gently press down. Or you could use your damp finger or a sponge, whatever. If you don't have plastic, don't stress. It's not a big deal. I do think it's a good thing to have in your studio. You should have it for covering your pots so that they don't dry out too quickly. But I don't want anybody out there thinking they can't make pottery because they don't have plastic. All right, now we're just going to take a damp sponge and I'm just going to let this smooth it. You know, once it's leather hard, if there's any spots that I need to come back and clean up, I will. I think there probably will be. You know, I have my needle tool. I'll probably go in and just clean up a few edges if it needs to be done, but it might not. I like to wait. Oh, there's a little bit. I can see it. Clean that up. All right, so this needs to set, I would say, again, like the other piece, an hour, and you can flip it out. Now, if you had really wet clay and you just made these, you might have to wait overnight. This clay was rolled out last week, sat under plastic. It was still pliable, but it wasn't sticky. So if you're using sticky clay, you might have to wait a bit longer. Sometimes in the studio, I'll make stuff one day and the next day I'll flip it out from the GR pottery forms. If it's summertime, sometimes I'll put things outside, not in the sunshine, in the shade, but just being out there dries things quicker for me. The other thing you can do, which is my little cheat hack right here, which I'll grab and do. I don't do this on a normal work day. I only do this when I have to do things for you guys. Is I have a heat gun and I will take my little piece that I have, and I will use this. I'm going to do because I know we're going to mute the sound so it's not too loud. I'm just going to let this spin and put the heat gun on probably the medium setting and let it just dry it a bit. And you'll know when this lifts up off the board, this little edge here, it's right now sitting snug on the board, when it just lifts up a little bit. All right, let's see if that was enough. I saw there's a question, with these mats, can you use the clay like a sandwich between the mat and a texture roller? You could do all kinds of things. Yeah, you could give it a try. You know, the mats have a thickness to them, so just keep that in mind. You might want a little thicker clay if you're going to do that. But sure, why couldn't you do it? You could put this on and then roll a texture roller around like the outside so you could get a different texture on the border. Sure, but you will want to go a little thicker with your clay, so keep that in mind. All right, so let's see if this will, if we let it dry enough. Here's the great thing about it. If it didn't dry enough, I can just put it back on the form. So let's flip this over. We're going to flip it out. Come in here so we can see, oh, it's holding itself, so I think we're going to be okay. Pop this out. Look at that. Here, look at this on the overhead. Isn't this a beautiful little plate? So if you used lace, like fabric lace, to do this, and I have done it, and you've probably seen me do it, when you're cutting out around the edge of fabric lace, you're not going to get such a perfect profile as we're getting here. And since this is still a little soft, I'm going to actually curl these up a little bit so they're not straight. I want a little bit of height, just a little. And you can see there's a few places I'm going to come clean it up, but it's not a big deal. That's minor. And whenever you make pottery, you should expect to do a little bit of cleanup work on it. That's the difference, you know. Did you know the difference when you're becoming a little more advanced in your, as people were saying, leveling up in their pottery skills? It's when you clean up your edges. That makes such a difference. That's why I always say you got to watch your bottoms. Wipe your bottoms, sand your bottoms, wax your bottoms. It's all about having a nice bottom. That's right. That's the key. So look how great this is. I'll come over here and show you side view. And we'll clean these up so there won't be sharp edges. We'll clean it up and it's just, it's lovely. The camera, the lighting over here is really harsh. I think it could be blowing out some of the texture. But when you see on the overhead, you can really see the texture. I do see a pie plate, a little pie plate here, don't you? All right, so this one, the glazing, I'll probably stain it and wipe back and then do a Celadon or a clear glaze. Let's check on our other piece. I might have to use the heat gun on that as well so that we can flip it out. Now, of course, you could put feet on these, and I was going to do that, but when you put feet on them, you need to let them set a little longer because they'll collapse and sag under the foot ring. So because I didn't want that to be an issue, I went ahead and didn't put feet on. You wish JR Pottery Form shipping were free. Keep an eye on when they do sales because you can get some really good deals. Yeah, this is still super soft. Can you see how I'm still able to bend it? It's okay. We're going to give it a try. You like that edge? Oh, you have tons of rhubarb, so you're going to make a rhubarb pie. That would be delicious. Yes. All right, let's try this one a little. Okay, I think that would work. So I saw a couple questions. Where do I get my manganese wash? It's from Mako. They have a whole line of washes, which when used according to their directions are food safe. So we could use this guy right here. It's not too big. We're gonna flip this out. And you're watching me work with pottery while sitting in your backyard working with pottery on a very old Shimpo wheel that you scored and a Crest kiln. Well, you go. I love that. Thanks, Bill's watching. Hey, hey. All right, so we're gonna flip this over. So I guess we'll go to the front and you can see it. Ready? Whoop. And it held itself up. I didn't know if it would. All right, I don't know if we can zoom out on the overhead enough to get in here. See if I can get this out without drop. There we go, did it. Whew. That's that moment, right? Where you're pulling it out, you're like, oh, please don't drop it. Oh my gosh, I love this. So I have a dream texture I'm gonna do that is like for the boho. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. You'll know it when it comes out, if I can get it to work. It's not the one I was talking about on Monday, it's something else, but it's a little tricky, but I think I can do it. I think I can. You have to wait. All right, look at how great. So I'm just gonna use this red rib to smooth my edges. I know Jeff at JR Pottery Forms has a mud tool. He collaborated with them and he has a really cool edge tool. I went to get one and they were all sold out at Ensika, so I'll have to see about getting one. But I just use this rib to even the rim, and then I'm gonna take my sponge and I do my taco sponge where we roll it up like a taco, like that. And you just put it on and you let that float around the rim and it smooths both sides for you. And you can of course go back with your fingers if you need to, but I try to wait till it's a nice soft leather hard. This is very wet. This is dangerous, but I like to live on the edge apparently. That's right, a potter who lives on the edge, a potter on the edge. The other thing you want to do is, you know, the little I love you. You can make that, and you could, watch, see, this goes right here. Mwah, kiss it. And then you let that roll around, and do you see how perfectly your fingers can fit? Doesn't matter what size hands you have, works for everybody. Look how great. And the edges are done. I mean, really, I might do one quick wipe over before it goes in the bisque fire, but this plate's stunning. The combination of the texture with the rim shape is nice, isn't it? Another flipperoonie. Thank you for that. We need to have Jeff. I need to have a little soundbite of Jeff saying flipperoonie, and we can have that play when I flip things over. All right, now what I was talking about, where the edge of the form was. If you look super, super, super close, which I don't know if we can see it, I'll pull it in so you could see right here a little line there, and that's this edge right here of the form on the side. So if I did this with a round shape, right, and I used two forms stacked on each other, and I used one of these Pottery Tool Kit form covers, I would not get that seam. That seam is because I don't have a cover. But you know what I do? I take a damp sponge in my finger, and right now, while it's freshly flipped, a freshly flipped plate, I just smooth it out, and it takes care of it. You really won't notice it. And once it's glazed and everything, it'll be completely gone. I just clean that up. I am supporting the outside because, again, this is very soft. There's my corner. Oh, it looks so good. I love these. You guys, Lauren and Chad over at the Pottery Tool Kit, you guys did a great job with this texture. I got to tell you, I love it. And it does look like a peacock a little bit. Very nice. There's the big one. Here's the little one. Look, same texture, two completely different pieces that we did tonight, you know. I don't think one's better than the other as far as the look, but we've been talking on ClayShare about making sets, and that's been our challenge. And so we do ClayShare challenge. So usually run a month or two. And this current one is making sets. So we talked about how sets could be things that are a grouping of objects. They could be all the same color. They could have the same texture, something to tie them together to make it be a set. So we have two things right here made with two different texture mats, but it's the same texture just in two different sizes, right? So it's a set. So I just made, using these, a set that could go together. And how great it could be, you could make these little ones as little serving dishes, like individual dishes, dessert plates, and maybe this could be the serving plate, and you could have a bunch of lemon bars. You know, they're on my mind, so maybe you have a pile of lemon bars here, and everybody comes over for some iced tea and lemon bars. You made iced tea glasses with me a few weeks ago, so you've got your iced tea glasses. Maybe use this texture on it, and you have your plates, and then everybody gets their little plate to eat their lemon bar off of and drink their iced tea out of their iced tea glasses, and you've made this really sweet set, and you could use this texture, and that would tie it all in, all these different objects. So really, really fun to do. All right, do you all have any questions? The round edge reminds you of sunflower petals. Yes. Living on the edge. Let me remember that. A pottery t-shirt, like a potter living on the edge. I'm a potter on the edge. That's right. I'm a potter on the edge. Living on the edge. Well, that's, you all know, because when we flip things too soon, or we fire our kiln a little faster than we should, or we open up the kiln a little too soon, or maybe we're running low on glaze, so you don't put as many coats of glaze on a pot. I mean, there's all these things we do that is just like, not really on the edge, but for pottery, we're on the pottery edge. Me is not using cone packs in my kiln right now because I need to make some more. So I'm living on the edge with every firing because I don't have cone packs. All right, stacked together with a bow and a card as a gift would be wonderful. Yes, yeah. I think that would be a lovely gift if you know anybody who just bought a house or just got married. What a sweet gift to give them. You make them one of these plates, you make them 4 little dishes, you stack them in, tie it with a bow, maybe tuck your favorite recipe in there. Of course, if you want to give them some baked goods, they won't mind. I think it would be a great thing. So, how do I get the sculpted edges? Did you just tune in, Trisha? I showed how to do it on this one. So once the replay is up, go watch that. It was really easy. I actually just used the form itself, the mat itself, as my template and cut around. So go back and watch the replay. So thank you, everyone. Such a fun little demonstration. Remember, they have a discount. If you use the code SUMMERSHARE at the Pottery Tool Kit, you can save through the 11th of this month. I also want to remind you, we had Easy Screen Print on with us last week, and their discount that they have is good through Friday. So you still get a few more days if you want to pick up some supplies from Easy Screen Print. You could combine these textures with your own little stencils or screen prints that you made. What else do I have for news for you guys? Oh, well, you know, members of ClayShare always get a discount on our textured rollers and our mats. So if you're not a member yet, right there, your discount would pay for membership. So think about that. If you haven't joined, go to clayshare.com. We have a free trial. In the free trial, you don't get the discount, just how things work, right? But once your free trial ends, you get the discount. You also get 20% off our workshops, and the workshops you get forever. Speaking of that, we have a wonderful one coming up in July, a one-day virtual workshop on weaving baskets with Carla Chambers. You have to check that out. You can go to clayshare.com, and if you go to workshops, you can actually find out all about her workshop. That would be a fun thing to do. Give it for yourself or give it to someone you love. Father's Day is coming. Dads might want to make their own basket. What a great gift to give them. You could make baskets together, and that would be even more special. All right, we will not be doing a prime time tonight. I will be here Monday morning for Good Morning ClayShare. And we'll talk about next week and everything. But please go watch the replay of this. Share with me glaze suggestions for these pieces. I know I shared with you some of my ideas, but I want to hear what you have done for glazes. It's summer here, so I'm looking for really juicy, yummy colors. Next week in the primetime broadcast, we will be doing this summer fruits tray. So I'm going to teach you how to do all 3 of these fruit patterns. Here I've combined it into one. I'll put it over here. So we'll be doing watermelon, cherries, and citrus. I made them limes, but you could make them oranges or lemons or anything you want to make them. It's up to you. The fun part is like here I combined them. So, all right, that's next week in prime time. So if you're not a member yet for ClayShare, you need to be to watch that next week. Join now, and then you can watch that next week and learn how to do all 3 of those patterns on separate pieces, or you can pull them all together. So thank you everybody for being here. Yeah, you can't wait for Carla's workshop. I can't wait. Have you seen her baskets? They are amazing. They're amazing. And you know, ClayShare workshops, you get them forever. So if you're a member, you get a discount. You buy the workshop. You stay, hopefully you always stay a member. We have what is it, 92% retention rate? 92% of people who join ClayShare stay, which is wonderful. I love you all staying because it's like your family just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's awesome. So you get that workshop forever no matter what. So check those out. And we have more workshops coming in the year. So yeah, stay tuned. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with me. I will see my members on Monday and we'll chat about what's going on next week. Everybody else, come join ClayShare and then you'll see me and you'll get to be part of our class next week too. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. Super huge thank you to the Pottery Tool Kit for these fabulous mats that I used tonight to make these great plates. And check out that discount code on their website so you can save. Bye, everybody.